Welcome to Search for Signs. My name is Gary Willing. If this information interests you, please press the like and subscribe button and press the bell for notifications.
Now, good afternoon. It is October the 13th. Lucky 13, baby. Woohoo! All right. Now, if you are just now coming to Search for Signs for the first time, I do apologize about the first 10 seconds of this video. But you'll get more and more dad jokes as the time goes on if you keep listening to these videos. What we talk about here is the reappearance of the Christ and the Masters of Wisdom. Touch on, as best we can, the priorities of Maitreya, what it means for you personally, me, and everybody in between. Tie it into a lot of the crises that are going on in the world, but paint a very hopeful picture of not only the near future, but the long-term future for every single man, woman, and child on this planet. So, not a gloom and doom channel whatsoever. All right. Now, if you are listening to these videos for the second time, third time, or even more, want to give you a shout out as well, because I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to listen to these as well. If you're an acquisitive type and you have a question about Maitreya, the Masters of Wisdom, or what we're kind of talking about in a video or whatever, I would suggest just posting your question as a comment. That finds me the best, and then I will answer that question as best I possibly can in the next video. Now, some people will just post a comment. I read all the comments. If they are pertinent, I will leave them up, even if I totally disagree with what the person is saying. Most of the time, I still leave it up. If they're more of a trolling nature or totally inappropriate or they are repetitive, I will take them down. I have to moderate my channel, of course. Now, in rare occasions, I will actually take a comment and kind of look at it, talk about it a little bit more, and help to kind of, learn more about this topic, okay, about Maitreya and the Masters of Wisdom, so we can kind of learn it together. Alrighty, now let's get on into it. I had intended on doing a completely different video and got it all recorded, and then I read Benjamin Creme's Master's article, Love the Way Forward. And you know what I thought to myself? I was like, this pretty much says all that I wanted to say anyway. So I'm going to keep this video rather short and answer a question, talk about a comment, and then I'm just going to go right into reading Benjamin Creme's Master's article because it says a lot about what's going on today. And we'll talk more about it before I read it. Anyway, first question, what is the source of your information regarding what Maitreya is currently doing, Gary? Okay, so this question could be interpreted a couple different ways. One way of looking at it is you're asking me what's the source of my information because I am talking about what I think will happen not only now in the near future in terms of the world and what's going on with Maitreya. So I am taking what I've learned from reading Benjamin Creme's books, from speaking to Benjamin Creme personally, putting two and two together sometimes, and coming up with my own personal opinion to answer questions that people bring up about this stuff. That's one thing. The other thing is, in no way, shape, or form am I claiming to be an authority, or what I'm saying is absolutely 100% correct. So it might look different than what I explain, the way that I explain it. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I'm just trying to talk about this information, find out more about it, hopefully get questions that we can all inquire on it. And in no way, shape, or form am I looking to be, and like I said, an authority where you ask me a question and I give you the quote-unquote correct answer and then we just move on with our day. It's more of a Socraterian way of doing things and learning and asking questions and creating more questions and answering in question. Inquiry. It's an inquiry, really. And therefore, we can keep going with this because now I also tie it into my own personal experiences and with Maitreya and some of the other masters and help to make it personal so when I'm presenting it to whoever is willing to listen to this, it's not coming across hopefully as a lecture. When I give lectures to the public or I'm on a radio interview, it's a lecture mainly, and this is a different format. There isn't anybody on YouTube doing videos like this about the Masters of Wisdom. They're either claiming to channel the masters and they're getting messages directly from the masters, or they know nothing about the masters and they're talking about it and lecturing in that way. Or even with Benjamin Creme, as informative as his videos are, they're basically just lectures. This is more of an informal discussion online about Maitreya's priorities, what it means for all of us, tying it into my own personal experiences, these miracles and stuff like this. So that's why I'm saying this. So I guess my source would be Benjamin Creme and Alice Bailey, but also my own personal experiences. Now, in terms of what he's doing now, currently, to kind of round off your question, when Benjamin Creme was alive, he was talking about how from 2010 to the day around the time that Benjamin Creme passed away, every time they published a Share International magazine, he was publishing the locations where Maitreya was giving interviews on TV. And there were countries all over the world that he started giving talks on television. So I have under a good assumption, but that he is still giving interviews on TV, but still not being recognized as anything else. Now, the other thing is, I've also made an assertion, and this is just my opinion, and every time I talk about it, I say, this is just my opinion. I don't know if this is true or not. That when Maitreya is starting to be recognized, or you start to recognize him personally, that there is a strong likelihood that you have already have seen him on TV in some way, shape, or form, and just didn't know it. So that rather than having it be a total stranger on TV that you have no connection with, you're going to, more than likely, and this, like I said, this is just my opinion, would go, wow, I've seen him before, or I've seen him all the time on TV, and had no idea that was Maitreya. I'm pretty sure it's not Kim Kardashian, but you never know. I'm just kidding. But it's somebody who's on TV. He doesn't look anything like him. He might be a darker complexion than the picture of him at the top left. He might be a lighter complexion. He might have a different color hair. He might not have a beard. But it doesn't really matter. However he's looking on TV is how he looks. And the way that he's presenting his solutions to our ever-going problems are so simple that they're being missed by everybody. Everything about Maitreya is quiet and gentle, really. And especially if you don't believe anything in this or know anything in this, he could walk right by you the way that he looks. He could walk right by you in a store. You have no clue who he was. Now, if you have an idea who Maitreya is, and this is one of the intentions why I put these videos up, is to help anyone who's interested in this information to start to maybe see him on TV. Hopefully we don't bring it up to others, because it's for everyone to recognize them for ourselves. I do need to put that in there, but it hopefully will make it easier for you. Now, I am not the kind of person that's looking for him on TV like the way that some people have. I don't even have cable news on my television. I get my news from the internet. So I read, I Google events and different things like this. I go on YouTube and watch the videos about those certain things. So I just wanted to scale back my cable TV. I was hardly ever watching it, and I just got the basic of basic cable. And so I also don't really like spending a lot of time listening to news per se about, because I like listening to about events, weather events or natural disasters or world events or something like this, but they go into this political divisive kind of commentary, and it's painful for me in the extreme to listen to it for any length of time. I can listen to it in little spurts, but to listen to it, just to even listen, to try to find my beloved Maitreya that I've been waiting for to see on TV as long as I have, I'd rather just wait. Now, Maitreya did tell me personally that I would see him on TV real soon. He wasn't talking about me personally, he was talking about everybody, but it's been 12 years since he said that to me. Now, from his perspective, it still falls under the category of very soon. From my point of view, it's been quite a bit of time. So the masters have a different view of time, but just, be patient and wait. I know though, people who comment on this channel that know about this information, have known about this information forever, as long as they have, can be quite impatient about recognizing him on TV, and they become quite disgruntled about not seeing him on TV. But it's very important to look at just what you know. His priorities for humanity are, above all, we need to create peace. And that's the most important thing we need to do right now. He says, without sharing, there could be no justice. Without justice, there could be no peace. Without peace, there could be no future. So knowing this information, you can already start working toward that end in your own way, however you see fit. So hopefully that helps. Now, the next comment kind of falls into the category of I leave them up even though I totally disagree with what this person says. He has commented from time to time. Of course, he doesn't like what I say. And I always find it rather interesting when it seems like people kind of crawl out from underneath a rock and hate on a video and then crawl back underneath it, and I don't hear from them for months and months and months and months and months, and then I say something or I put a title in that triggers something in them, and they come right out from underneath that rock and start hating on it again. I've mentioned many times to this person that I strongly suggested to him to get a hobby or start his own channel talking about this, even encouraged him to do it, right? But, because when I know for myself, when I come across a video that I totally disagree with, it doesn't matter what they're talking about. If I totally disagree with it and totally turned off by it, I just turn it off, cut it off in the middle of the video and just never come back and get on with my life. I got better things to do than to post hateful comments on a channel, but that's just me. Some people need a hobby, I guess. All right, this one comes from Aunt Brad. I see you are still using the sacred image of Jesus Christ. It's quite obvious this is deception. It is also a false statement to suggest or even try to imply that the return if Christ, that is an hour no one knows. Sadly, the Christ you are relating to is the Antichrist. And yes, he is certainly present in the world. There is absolutely no truth or foundation in your claims. These masters you speak of are a part of an occult and precede the Antichrist. You heard about them from a guitar teacher, but the world know about Jesus from the Bible. You should stop using the image of Jesus in your videos. And he said so much in the last time he commented about the fact that I have images of Jesus sitting next to these masters and so forth. Well, I was trying to be delicate the last time and considerate, I guess, and not be blunt. But I guess I didn't get my point across to you. Aunt Brad, I really don't care what you think. I hate to say it like that, but it's true. You have a view of Jesus. I have a different view of Jesus. I'm not speaking to people who share your view of Jesus Christ, and I'm not trying to convince you to believe something different. I'm trying to speak to those people who have a different view of life, who want peace, who want justice, who want to see the end of hunger above anything. I'm not even really that concerned about the mystical aspect of this information that some people make. They make it so mystical. I'm trying to keep it very pragmatic and practical about world affairs, about creating structures to bring about peace so that everybody has food, clothing, shelter, healthcare, and education. That's the only thing I'm really concerned about, believe it or not. And if I'm guilty of trying to convince somebody of anything, it's trying to convince people of the need to share to create peace, to create justice, to create peace. As Maitreya says, without sharing, there could be no justice. Without justice, there could be no peace. Without peace, there could be no future. So really, I'm only concerned about the future. So I understand where you're coming from, like I understand everybody else who has concerns about this. My background's of Christianity. You're not saying anything that is foreign to me that I don't understand, But I've noticed with you in particular that your view on Jesus is very narrow. Now, if nobody in your life has ever told you this, I'm sorry that I'm the first person to tell you this, but there are people who believe Jesus, see the value of his teachings, try to apply it in his life, maybe like you do, I don't know, but have a totally different view on who and what Jesus is than what you think. So, and I've also found that you have a very narrow view of politics, because when I talked about Trump in the way that I talked about him, you said I was deceived because of the way that I viewed Trump. I think that was you that said that. So it kind of begs the question. I mean, does everybody have to think exactly like you, dress exactly like you, have the same world outlook that you have, maybe even put the exact amount of mayonnaise or mustard on a sandwich that you do? I mean, in order for you to say that they're not deceived, I mean, there's 6.5 billion people out there, all with different opinions. Now, the fundamental difference between me and you is You are trying to convince me and others to believe what you believe. I am not trying to convince you or anybody else. I am just laying this information out for you to consider. Now, typically, what most people do is if they don't agree with what I say or believe what I say, they pretty much just get on with their life. They don't keep coming back. But, I appreciate your comment. I find it rather humorous that you say there's absolutely no truth or foundation in my claims, but then you turn around and say that Maitreya is president of the world. You just think he's the Antichrist. So now, who and what the Antichrist is, I have no problem talking about again, because, of course, people think Maitreya is the Antichrist, even though none of them have ever seen him, ever heard him, ever experienced his love even. They are just going on fear based off of their own dogma. Now, Revelation is a lot like Nostradamus and even Edgar Cayce and other people have made predictions in the past. People have a tendency to take what they read and try to apply it to their life and cram it in there like this is happening today. I don't believe that and see Revelation in the same way that you do, that it is only pertaining to our time. There were people 1,000 years ago that thought that what John was talking about in Revelation was going to happen during their time, that they were living during the end times. But yet we've lived another 1,000 years since then. Now, I think that the book of Revelation was written as a symbol about not only things that are happening today, but things that happened during the time of John and things that will happen 1,000 years from now. But yet people, because of their own ideology and their own narrow way of seeing things, think everything is applying to them personally. If they're an American, they think that the Antichrist is going to come through an American. If they are living during this time, that the Antichrist is going to come during this time. And they scour the internet and think Bill Gates is the Antichrist, or Obama, Trump, Dwayne Johnson. I mean, the list, Maitreya, the list goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. And they all have videos up with hundreds of thousands of views, maybe perhaps millions of views, all talking about their misinterpretation of the Bible. And according to the Ageless Wisdom teachings, and like I said, I'm not trying to convince you, I'm just laying out my side of it, that the Antichrist is not and was never meant to be interpreted as an individual. It has a purpose. It's an energy. And it was sent out somewhat 75, 80 years ago through the Axis powers during the time of World War II. One could say that Hitler was the Antichrist, but he wasn't even the Antichrist. It was the Nazis, the fascists in Italy, and the militarists in Japan. All those 3 points of darkness allowed that Antichrist energy to be sent through them and out into the world. The qualities of the age of Pisces that Jesus was the world teacher for, that gave his set of teachings to help humanity during this last 2,000 years, those qualities are almost exact opposite of the qualities of the age of Aquarius that we're headed into now. It's an astronomical fact that our solar system is moving out of the alignment of the constellation Pisces and in alignment with the constellation of Aquarius. Esoterically speaking, that creates energetic differences in the society of at whole based on the influence of that constellation. But the Antichrist energy needed to be sent out to destroy the old ways of thinking, the old ways of relating of the past of Pisces, to allow a new way of thinking and relating to flourish. And if it hadn't been sent out during the time of the Nazi regime, we would not be able to utilize properly the energies of Aquarius. Now, those people living during that time it's quite uncomfortable, it's very unpleasant, but it's necessary. But even if you took all the qualifications that you think of the Antichrist being in Maitreya and looked at it in terms of the Nazis even, you can't deny that they don't share those qualities. So just how the people miss the Christ coming back into the world or the Christ being on TV, they missed the Antichrist 75, 80 years ago. But like I said, I'm not really trying to convince you, and that's not even like I said, people who are religious and very mystical about this information, I really am not intending on talking to that type of mind and that type of person, I'm trying to reach people who want for the world what Maitreya is advocating for the world, which is above all peace. They want also an environment and a planet that's healthy and vibrant for not only themselves, but for their children and their children's children and future generations on into the future. That's who I am wanting to talk to. So anyway, take it for what it is. Now, that being said, I kind of went longer than I had hoped, but I did want to read one of Benjamin Creme's master's article, and I hope that you, and it's my fondest hope, that you actually take the time to listen to all this. If you can find this article on the Share International webpage, I definitely recommend taking it and reading it, looking at the words, internalizing it for yourself, and so forth. Because of the crises that are going on today, the uncertainty, the unemployment, the tsunami of wave of COVID cases that are probably more than likely going to hit us in the fall and into the winter and so forth, the economic, unemployment wave, the tsunami wave that's going to hit us, also the social and political unrest and so forth, not only in the United States but around the world, that's hitting us and about to hit us even more. So this has a quite hopeful look of what's going to happen, I think, and maybe give you a little bit more hope than you might have had if you hadn't heard this. But this article is coming from one of the masters. We don't know his name yet. He is one of the senior members of the hierarchy on our planet, and his name will be well known not long after Maitreya declares himself as Maitreya. Each day, man looks anew at his life and fails to discern the causes for his discontent. He blames the weather, his neighbor, his lack of money or opportunity for his failure to find happiness and inner peace. As a result, he is at odds with himself and his world. He knows no sure faith that life is meaningful or has purpose, and grasps at every ephemeral idea or notion which crosses his path in a vain attempt to satisfy his longing for the surety of knowing the quote-unquote truth. Time after time, that truth eludes him, leaving him stranded once more in a sea of doubts. Nowhere can he find the solution to his problems. Nowhere can he see the answers to his questions and fears. As time goes on, he lapses into silent lethargy or follows a path of ever more destructive violence. Thus stands man at the crossroads of his life, awaiting a new dawn or a fateful and final slide into catastrophic war. Into this scene emerge Maitreya and his group of masters, carrying with them the banner of peace and love. Round them are gathered their disciples, ready to do battle in the cause of justice and freedom and peace. Their war cry is unity, justice, and freedom for all. They know the rules of combat, conquer by love and service. They know the needs of the time and are ready for every sacrifice. They know their tasks and wait impatient for action. Listen for the sound of their music, beauty and truth. Watch for the signs of their hand, cooperation, sharing, and joy. Make ready to recognize and work with these warriors of the new time and fulfill the purpose of your incarnation. Largely unknown as yet, they are not to be found in the existing groups. They stand in the wings, awaiting the call to service. When that call comes, they will enter into a service for which they are well trained, expressing the needs of all for a world shorn of cynicism and greed, rid forever of bigotry and narrowness of view. A world in which men will come to know themselves and each other as the gods they truly are. When men will understand that what ails them is their lack of love, their inability to register in their lives their qualities as souls, that daily the soul seeks expression of its purpose, and that being denied, all turns to salt. Here, then, is the cure for all the ills of men. Demonstrate love, that every man may share the earth's abundance. Demonstrate love, that wars be seen no more. Demonstrate your soul's love and bring that day forward when men will be united with man and God. However he may try, man cannot live without love. This fact will soon establish itself in the consciousness of the race and lead to events unparalleled in history. Shortly will begin a process of transformation unlike aught seen before. Gone forever the sight of millions starving, the daily heartache of the dispossessed, the everlasting travail of the world's poor, gone from sight and mind, the threat of self-destruction, the unholy terror which has humanity in thrall. Gone, too, the lack of trust, which curbs and limits man's every action and sets him against his neighbor and himself. All of this shall man achieve by demonstrating love. Through love shall man conquer and become
Remember
a
to
god.
take action and help SOP save our planet. Thanks for listening, and we look forward to talking to you again in future videos.